Thank you. Thank you. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Through the Keyhole, the show that knocks on the doors of the homes of the famous, finds they're out, but goes in anyway. Tonight, as every week, what we're going to do is to take the keys to two famous, fascinating houses owned by well-known people. And then, with Loyd Grossman's help, our own original house detective, we'll be taking a privileged peep behind closed doors. But the question is, whose closed doors? Well, to try and find the answer to those questions, we've got three people here who are going to work at the answer. First of all, an author whose books will be read long after Shakespeare, Dickens, and Evelyn Waugh are forgotten. But not until then. Ladies and gentlemen, Alan Coren. Secondly, making a welcome return to the county they wish she'd never left, Mary Parkinson. And finally, a man with a bigger range of voices than the Huddersfield Choral Society. Everyone's favourite carry-on comic, Kenneth Williams. Well, now, let me try and tell you a little more about the game. With the help of these magic keys, we'll be taking a careful look inside two fascinating homes, and that should tell us something, maybe a lot, about the person who lives there. All that our friends here have got to do, that's all, is just to work out whose house it is. So, let's join Loyd Grossman now at house number 1. And watch closely, because remember, the clues are there as we go through the keyhole.
Well, it's very rare to see such sophisticated taste in furniture, isn't it? In fact, this whole room is very sophisticated and very subtle. Once you close the door, you can't even find your way out of it. This is very much the sort of room where James Bond would have a drinks party. It's rather reminiscent of a penthouse suite in the Singapore Hilton. It does have very, very definite Far Eastern touches. There are a lot of Oriental knickknacks scattered around. The lamps look like bunches of bamboo. There's a tremendous selection of bar paraphernalia. Look at all those glasses, for example. And I'm very impressed by the collection of miniatures at the top of the bar. This is a very well-appointed dressing room, isn't it? It's also frightfully butch with all this dark, polished wood. And look at this collection of shoes. Interestingly enough, they're all casual shoes. Maybe this belongs to a sort of laid-back guy who really likes walking. But the best thing about this room is on those mornings when you feel almost too tired to get dressed, just watch this. The mirrored ceiling is one of the best features of this bedroom. It's terribly handy because it means that when you make up the bed, you can see that the sheets are on straight. This is really a room designed for tremendous idleness, isn't it? I mean, look at that huge television set hanging over the bed. Whereas most people like to sleep with a teddy bear by their bedside, this person has a vintage Mercedes. One great luxury in here, and I really think every bedroom should have it, is provided by this little button. Let's press it and you just see what happens. As you may have guessed by now, everything in this house is connected to everything else. So if you're frolicking in the jacuzzi and you think that the local peeping Tom might be having a look at you, all you have to do is this. I think we'll leave this on autopilot. This room is quite interesting because it seems to be very traditional. Look at this fine Tudor paneling, for example. But it's not what it appears to be at all. What it really is a combination of Anne Hathaway's cottage and the Starship Enterprise, because this is the control center of the whole household. Look at this amazing array of switchcraft next to me. From this sofa, you can control everything. Let's just flick a switch and watch what happens. Much more than this, And of course, as Frank Sinatra croons slowly in the background on the stereo and you fancy a bite to eat, you don't even have to move from here. Just watch this. Talk about convenience food. The only problem is knowing when to stop. Let's review the evidence. The hotel bar, the mirrored ceiling over the bed, the push-button mania. The question is, what sort of person lives in a place like this? So, David, it's over to you.
Thank you very much indeed, Loyd. So now, for our home and studio audience, though not for our panel, here's whose house it is. Alan, it's your turn to begin the analysis.
Loyd said the interesting thing about his shoes, they were all casual. I noticed they were all black. The only person I ever knew who had all black shoes was an undertaker. I think this bloke probably drives a hearse. I also noticed all that crystal, which nobody in their right mind would ever buy. I think he shops at Texaco gas stations a lot. And they are all... Is he a driver of some kind?
All right, Mary. When you said yes, a driver, so
yes, that's a good clue. And there was a car. I noticed a racing car. Now let's see what we've got. Well, what did I notice? I noticed a very small chair. So maybe he's a very small man, but he's certainly dapper and he likes high tech. I think he's got a very understanding wife. I think he's a man who's never put away his toys. I think he's probably designed that house himself, because if it goes wrong, he's going to be the only man who's going to be able to fix it.
Kenneth, what picture did you get?
Well, it's absolutely staggering. I mean, first of all, I thought it must be somebody exotic, you know, and films. I thought of films because of all that sheesh. I mean, all the stuff coming down off the wall and the mirrors over in the bedroom. And then I thought, well, no, because I think Loyd gave us a deliberate clue with the Mercedes motor car. It must be someone with a tremendous sort of, well, international status, I would have thought. International celebrity status. You know,
right.
Grand Prix.
Oh, very good, Kenneth.
Right.
Something like that.
Well, who wants to try
I
first?
think we know this now, don't we? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I think I
significant
know
that
it.
it's a Mercedes-Benz because he used to drive for them. It's got to be Stirling Moss, hasn't it?
Correct. Stirling Moss coming through the keyhole. Well, they were hot stuff there, Stirling, weren't they?
Terrible to be sorted out that fast.
Stage by stage analysed with
What happens
the...
if you get a fuse blown? Are you stuck in bed or with the
Well, it's,
cable halfway up?
No, because there are quite a lot of circuits. There are about 196 operations working through, I think, 70-odd circuits. So each one is underloaded, so you're not likely to overload it and blow a fuse. If it does blow a fuse, one of those trigger things comes up and you just find it and push it down.
What about...
Do you have an understanding wife?
Yeah, oh, I do. Absolutely. I mean, she's moved in. It was designed when I was a bachelor. And now you saw the table come down. Well, Susie, if she's in the kitchen cooking, I say, OK, and then I start to bring... If she's fast, she can get down before it comes down and closes off where we're seated. So she's quick as well.
And if she doesn't get there in time?
Well, she has to stand outside. No, I can't stop.
And what about when you're busy and you decide to run a bath? What if you forget and get busier on the phone or something? Does the bath overflow? Or
No,
does
the bath runs for 5 minutes, 20 seconds, and then there's about 240 gallons in that sports suit bath, and then it stops. And if somebody else pushes the button, not knowing that I have, A, it lights up. But if they do, then it just empties it. In other words, it's on a full empty. So, no, touch wood, it can't overflow. It hasn't yet.
It can't.
Is that really your design, or is it somebody who's done it for you?
Oh, no, it's my design. Oh, no, I'm not a lazy person, but I do like to be able to get on with what I'm doing. So if I need a bath, I put my hand out, push a button, and I can carry on with what I'm doing. So I know it's ready in 5 minutes.
Is the mirror over the bed a labour-saving device, or what?
No, that's there for... Well, I was a bachelor at one time, you know, and that lets down... There's a sun lamp above that, actually.
Have you ever tried to put it on the market? People come along and say...
No,
"I
I
want
wouldn't,
something
because
for
it's
us,"
my home, and I'd hate to do it, but it would be difficult to find the right person, but there are other people who are as crazy as I am who would buy a place like that, I hope.
Well, Stirling, we have here, as a memento of our thanks to you, the gold through the keyhole key to present you, to say thank you for sharing this time with us. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you very
We've got
much.
to take a break there, and in a moment, Loyd will be going to house number 2. But in the meantime, our thanks to Stirling Moss. We'll be right back. That was really